National Electrical Code Article 408.31 states that service panels shall not be located in unfinished basements, crawl spaces, or other areas not normally accessible. The interpretation of this code prohibits service panels from being located in crawl spaces, as they are not normally accessible. However, it is important to note that local codes may differ from the National Electrical Code. Therefore, it is recommended to check the specific code requirements for the jurisdiction. There are several reasons for this code prohibition. Firstly, safety is a major concern. Crawl spaces are often damp, dark, and can be difficult to access in an emergency. If a panel is located in a crawl space, it could be challenging to quickly disconnect power or perform maintenance. Secondly, accessibility is also important. Code inspectors need to inspect panels periodically. Locating panels in crawl spaces makes inspections more difficult. Thirdly, damaged wiring is another concern. Crawl spaces can have moisture, rodents, and other hazards that can damage wiring. Given these reasons and potential safety concerns, it is recommended to move the subpanel out of the crawl space if possible. The National Electrical Code serves as a comprehensive guideline for safe electrical installations, and its adherence is crucial for preventing hazards and ensuring the reliable operation of electrical systems. Article 408 focuses specifically on switchboards and panel boards, providing detailed requirements for their installation, construction, and protection. Understanding and complying with these requirements is essential for electrical contractors, inspectors, and anyone involved in electrical work. Regarding Article 408.31, the phrase areas not normally accessible is open to interpretation by local authorities. The intent is to prevent panels from being installed in locations that would make it difficult for qualified personnel to access them for maintenance, repairs, or inspections. Some common examples of such areas, in addition to crawl spaces and unfinished basements, might include attics with limited access, spaces behind locked doors without readily available keys, or areas obstructed by permanent structures. The key consideration is whether a qualified person can safely and easily reach the panel in a reasonable amount of time. When evaluating a potential panel location, consider the following factors. Firstly, is the area well lit? Adequate lighting is essential for performing electrical work safely and accurately. Secondly, is the area free from obstructions? There should be sufficient clear space around the panel to allow for easy access and maneuverability. Thirdly, is the area environmentally controlled? Excessive moisture, dust, or temperature extremes can damage electrical equipment and create hazardous conditions. Fourthly, is the area secure? The panel should be protected from unauthorized access to prevent tampering or vandalism. If a panel is located in an area that does not meet these criteria, it may be considered a code violation. In addition to the general requirements of Article 408.31, there may be other relevant code sections that apply to specific situations. For example, Article 110.26 specifies workspace requirements around electrical equipment operating at 600 volts, nominal or less. This section requires a minimum depth of workspace in front of the panel, as well as minimum widths and heights. These requirements are intended to provide adequate space for electricians to work safely and efficiently. Another relevant code section is Article 312, which covers cabinets, cutout boxes, and meter socket enclosures. This article provides requirements for the construction, installation, and support of these enclosures, as well as requirements for protecting conductors from physical damage. It is important to consult the latest edition of the National Electrical Code and any applicable local codes to ensure compliance with all relevant requirements. Local codes may be more stringent than the National Electrical Code, so it is always best to check with the local authorities having jurisdiction. In addition to the code requirements, there are also some practical considerations to keep in mind when installing electrical panels. Firstly, the panel should be located in a place that is convenient for the homeowner or building occupant. This will make it easier for them to access the panel in case of an emergency or to reset a trip circuit breaker. Secondly, the panel should be located in a place that is protected from physical damage. Avoid installing the panel in areas where it is likely to be bumped, scratched, or otherwise damaged. Thirdly, the panel should be located in a place that is well ventilated. This will help to prevent the panel from overheating. Fourthly, the panel should be located in a place that is accessible for future maintenance and repairs. Make sure that there is enough space around the panel to allow electricians to work comfortably. Failure to comply with the National Electrical Code and local codes can result in fines, penalties, and even legal action. More importantly, it can create hazardous conditions that could lead to electrical shocks, fires, or other serious injuries. Therefore, it is essential to take the time to understand and comply with all relevant codes and regulations. If you are not familiar with the National Electrical Code or local codes, it is best to consult with a qualified electrician or electrical inspector. They can help you to ensure that your electrical installations are safe and compliant. Moving a subpanel involves several steps that must be performed carefully to ensure safety and code compliance. Firstly, planning is crucial. Before starting any work, develop a detailed plan that outlines the new location for the subpanel, the route for the wiring, and the necessary materials. Consider factors such as accessibility, environmental conditions, and proximity to the main panel. Secondly, obtain the necessary permits. Contact the local authorities having jurisdiction to determine if a permit is required for the subpanel relocation. Obtain the permit before starting any work. Thirdly, disconnect the power. Before working on any electrical equipment, always disconnect the power at the main panel. Use a voltage tester to verify that the power is off. Fourthly, remove the subpanel. Carefully disconnect the wiring from the subpanel, labeling each wire as you go. Remove the subpanel from its current location. Fifthly, install the subpanel in its new location. Mount the subpanel securely to the wall or other supporting structure. Sixthly, run the wiring. Run the wiring from the main panel to the new location of the subpanel. Use the appropriate type and size of wire for the application. Seventhly, connect the wiring. Connect the wiring to the subpanel following the labeling that you created when you disconnected the wiring from the old location. Eighthly, inspect the work. Have the work inspected by a qualified electrical inspector to ensure that it complies with all applicable codes and regulations. Ninthly, restore the power. Once the inspection is complete and approved, restore the power to the subpanel. Tenthly, test the subpanel. Test the subpanel to ensure that it is working properly. Check the voltage and amperage at each circuit breaker. Moving a subpanel can be a complex and potentially dangerous task. If you are not comfortable performing this work yourself, it is best to hire a qualified electrician. An electrician has the knowledge, skills, and experience to perform the work safely and correctly. In addition to moving the subpanel, there may be other electrical work that needs to be done in order to comply with the National Electrical Code. For example, you may need to upgrade the wiring to the subpanel, install new circuit breakers, or add additional grounding. Be sure to consult with a qualified electrician to determine what work needs to be done. The cost of moving a subpanel will vary depending on the complexity of the project, the amount of work involved, and the electrician's hourly rate. It is important to get several quotes from different electricians before hiring one. Be sure to ask for a detailed breakdown of the costs, including materials, labor, and permits. Moving a subpanel is a significant electrical project that should be approached with caution and careful planning. By following the steps outlined above and consulting with a qualified electrician, you can ensure that the work is done safely and correctly. Remember that safety should always be the top priority when working with electricity. If you are not comfortable performing any of the work yourself, it is best to hire a qualified electrician. Always disconnect the power before working on any electrical equipment. Use a voltage tester to verify that the power is off. Wear appropriate safety gear such as gloves and eye protection. Follow all applicable codes and regulations. By taking these precautions, you can help to prevent electrical shocks, fires, and other serious injuries. The National Electrical Code is a living document that is constantly being updated and revised to reflect new technologies and safety concerns. It is important to stay up to date on the latest changes to the code to ensure that your electrical installations are safe and compliant. The National Fire Protection Association offers a variety of resources to help you stay informed about the National Electrical Code, including training courses, publications, and online forums. You can also consult with a qualified electrician or electrical inspector to get answers to your questions about the code. Compliance with the National Electrical Code is essential for protecting people and property from electrical hazards. By taking the time to understand and comply with the code, you can help to ensure that your electrical installations are safe and reliable. In conclusion, when faced with a situation where a subpile is located in a crawl space, it is crucial to prioritize safety and adhere to the National Electrical Code. While local codes may vary, the NEC generally prohibits such installations due to the inherent dangers and accessibility issues associated with crawl spaces. Moving the subpile to a more accessible and safer location is highly recommended to ensure the well-being of occupants and facilitate future maintenance and inspections. Always consult with qualified electricians and local authorities to ensure compliance with all applicable codes and regulations, and remember that electrical safety should never be compromised. Remember, even if a local inspector hasn't cited the crawl space location as a violation in the past, it doesn't mean it's compliant or safe. Codes evolve and interpretations can change. Moreover, focusing solely on avoiding violations overlooks the fundamental reason for these rules, which is to protect people and property from electrical hazards. A crawl space environment, with its potential for moisture, pests, and difficult access, inherently increases the risk of electrical problems and makes maintenance more challenging. Therefore, proactively addressing the situation and relocating the panel is a responsible and prudent approach. Consider not just the letter of the code, but also the spirit of safety that underlies it. Finally, documentation is key. Keep records of all inspections, permits, and electrical work performed. This documentation can be valuable in the event of future issues or when selling the property. A thorough and well-documented electrical system demonstrates a commitment to safety and compliance.